Okay, the first one will be the clipping mask. So let me make a quick drawing. I'm going to start with a new document. And we will cover the clipping mask again. The topic is a mission patch that you can download from NASA and things like that. You can read about that. So let's just make ourselves a little scene. How about we make ourselves a nature scene? Sunset. How about sunset? So in this case, I'll do a really quick sunset with I want an oval. Circle, there it is. Ellipse tool. So let's do a sunset. And we'll make ourselves a nice big sun. Maybe a glowy sun with a gradient. How do I make this? I need to make this color. Color, where's my color? What color guide? I want color. There it is. No? No, that's not going to work. Okay, how do I get color into my gradient is always a painful process, isn't it? Let's see if I can do that. No, that didn't work either. How do I get color into my gradient? I know, it's even, look, even after 25 years of using this damn program, I still struggle with trying to get color into a gradient. You would think that they would be able to fix that by now. So I guess if I double click on this and choose a color, there we go. Double click on choose a color. And then I want to do radial gradient. How do I change that? Radial. Okay. So we have a glowing sun. And then let's make some rays. I'm going to do rays of sun coming off my rays. And so to do some rays, I'm going to chop up this object into multiple objects using a rectangle tool. So let me do a rectangle. And let me duplicate that and rotate it. You remember how we did the flower? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to duplicate it. There we go. And I'm going to move this down. And let me make this bigger. And I have a video, another video on the exact same thing I'm doing right now, and another one I could link that up to. And so I need to select everything except my circle. So how do I select? How do you deep select something underneath something? Does anybody know? What key on the keyboard would I hold down? How about Command? I don't know. Let's try it. I want the no. Not Option. No. Maybe Control. No. Shift? No. There is a way to select something underneath something else, isn't there? Maybe it was Command. Alright, I'm dying here. Okay, I don't know what to do. I have to select. I just want to get rid of the circle. Sorry. I have to go over here. Get rid of my ellipse. Lock it. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to make some rays of the sun by taking all these rectangles and converting them into new objects and then deleting the ones I don't want. So here we go. To do that, I'm going to go under Window. What was I going to say? Pathfinder. And then split these all up into individual objects by using the this. Oh, not that one. Which one is split? This one. Okay, there we go. So now I have a whole bunch of objects in here. These are a whole bunch of objects in here, and I'm going to go and delete the ones I don't want by using the white arrow. Don't want to delete that one. the first one here, this one that would split, divide. It takes all the things that are overlapping and makes them individual objects. Yes, it's a very useful feature. There we go. Oops, I had too many. I didn't want to do that. I want to do this. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to take my circle and put it over top. There we go. And then I'm just going to color these all different kind of colors. A quick way of doing that is just to select them. And there is a paint bucket tool that you might not have used yet. And it's somewhere. Oh, don't do. If you turn on that, you can always hide it underneath the perspective grid. If you actually turn the perspective grid, go under View, Perspective Grid, Hide Grid. There is a paint bucket somewhere, isn't there? Live paint bucket right there. Oh. No. No. I guess live paint bucket. Okay, how the live paint bucket works, and this is a new tool. Look at me, I'm going into new tools. I'm so sorry. This is the only one I'll show new. How the live paint bucket works is it works by using the swatches window, and you can use the arrows on the keyboard to scroll through the colors to fill in a shape. Now right now it's not filling in a shape. You have to do a certain thing to it. Select the path of the artwork to color and then click with the live paint bucket. Select the collection of paths to make the artwork you want to clone. Okay, so let me try it. Again, make sure my ellipse is locked. Select it all. Go to this one, and then you bring up the swatches. Bring up swatches, and then in the swatches window, you can click on a swatch, and you can fill in a color, or you wish to color, and click the selection live paint bucket to make a live paint group. Please select the path set to find the artwork you wish to color, and click the selection with a live paint bucket to make a live paint group. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. That's why I don't really use this. Live paint. So let me try this. Live selection tool here. Live paint bucket. Let me try this. Again, blue. No, I can't get it to work. Forget it. This is not going to work. It's a waste of my time. Okay, let me just quickly go and color my box. I just want to make some crazy sun kind of shape thing or something. I don't know. Oops, different color. So again, all I did was put a bunch of rectangles and then cut out shapes to give me different kind of shapes. If you can figure out how to use that live paint bucket, it would save you a lot of time because you can do it really quickly, and you can cycle through the artwork. Okay, almost done. Okay, I'm not going to do them all. You get the idea. So the one that I used was trim. Did I say trim to cut them? Or no, divide. To divide these so that they were individual objects, I used a divide. And like I said, I do have another video on exactly what I'm showing you right now as what I'm doing with this background here, and I will link it up to this week as soon as I'm done putting this together here. So I did do this in the past. I'm almost done. So close. Last one. Okay, here we go. There's a couple missing pieces. Okay, then let's put on a green grass. We love green grass. Or I guess we could do an ocean. Let's move that in the back. Okay, there we go. So this would be the inside of my mission patch. Okay, so now I want to cut out the oval so I can do the texture around the path. So if you remember to do the clipping mask, again, clipping mask is a way to hide certain artwork. I'm going to use the ellipse tool, and I'm going to draw from the center out. This is not quite in the center, but I'm going to draw from the center out, and maybe make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to use this object to cut the other objects in between. Before I do that though, I'm going to duplicate this object by copying it so that I have it, so that I can scale another one over top of it to do my text. So again, the clipping mask is done by selecting all your objects. Now make sure your mask is on top, right? The object on top is going to keep the artwork. Okay, so make sure you have one on top. And then I'm going to go under Object, Clipping Mask, Make, and it keeps that. Uh-oh, my circle died on me because it was locked and wasn't selected. Or no, I just need to turn it on maybe. Maybe I'll do that. Oh, what am I doing? Redo. Something happened with the circle. How about we take and unlock it and move it on top? There we go. Okay, see, we cheated. But you get the idea of the clipping mask, right? You make an object, select all the objects, and you can cut a hole through. Next, I'm going to paste the image, or that object that I had selected by going under Edit, Paste in Place. That'll paste the object right on top. So here's my circle again. I'm going to scale that a little bit. You can either scale it by hand using the scale tool, or you can scale it. Scale tool will scale uniformly. So if I want 20% bigger, I can go 120 right there and say OK, and it will make it bigger. I'm going to put, I can also get rid of the fill so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. So here's my basic shape, and if you remember from last class, we also had a, let me paste another one, edit, paste, and then, oh, paste in place. Remember that, paste in place will place it right in top of the center, and let's get rid of the fill there. Okay, so we have a black line. So again, we have a black line for here, a black line for there. So now we want to put our text that goes along there. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock this stuff so I don't mess with it. Now, if you want to keep the actual shapes, you need multiple ones, because remember, when you use the text along a path, it removes the circle, right? The circle goes away. So let me put another one in there. So I'm going to put another circle in there. I'm putting a lot of circles in there. Paste in place. Let me get rid of the fill for that, and let me scale that. I'm going to scale that by 5%. So I'm going to put in 105, and then hit Tab, and then hit OK, and I get a circle. So I'm going to use this circle now to put my text in there. So again, I can zoom in a little bit. To put my text along the circle here, I can go using my text on a path right there, if you remember that, text on a path. And so I'm going to put my cursor along the edge of my path, and I'm going to type in my text. This is going to be a space mission to the sun. We'll call it Going to the Sun. Wouldn't that be cool if they did a spaceship to the sun, huh? Sounds a little hot. So again, it's text along the path, and then I can highlight the text and use all my text tools. I can change the font size. Woo, that's a little too big. Change my font size, maybe a little bit bigger, 36, let's see. Oh, that actually almost fit. It's a little bit too big. You can always type in a number. How about we put in 30? The other thing that I demonstrated is how to increase the space between the actual text, as well as you can increase the space between the words, I believe, as well. And that is underneath the type character option, inside character. If I can bring that up, window, type, I already had it open, character. Here's where it is. Again, the space between the letters is right here. It's called tracking. Right here, tracking. And I can increase that by a number, or you can dial it if you want, but that takes a long time. Look at that. How many times can I click? You can type in a number. That looks a little better right there. Okay, so this one is horizontal scale. We're not going to do that yet. Then we got to rotate. We'll do most of these in the next lesson next week when we do the artist statement. We're going to be doing all these things, a lot more. But you get the idea of how to do that. Increase the space. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? Going to the sun. Maybe a better font would be kind of cool. This is a pretty boring font. Okay, let's get the text to go along the bottom, if you remember that one too, right? Do you remember that one? So again, I'm going to paste another circle. Paste in place. I'm going to get rid of the fill, and then I'm going to scale it, and this time I'm going to scale it Remember the outside one was 120, right? So I'm going to do this one a little bit smaller than 120. Let's do 117. 117. And that gets me a line there. It's kind of along the top there. And remember, the line will be invisible once you use the text along a path, right? So again, I'm going to use text along a path, and I'm going to click along my path. I'm going to click over here, actually. And who's going to go to the sun? Who's going to the sun? What countries? What country? Which one? Something I can spell. You got to give me
Cuba.
Easy words. Cuba. Cuba and, oh, of course, my favorite country, Colombia. Cuba and Colombia. By that time, they'll be the top countries in the world, probably. Okay, so again, notice how the text now goes under. We don't want it under, we want it inside, right? So to put the text inside, if you remember, where we clicked, we go all the way to the opposite side, and you'll see there's a line right here. See that line right there? It's on the opposite side. We're going to go click on that, and we're going to drag inside. So here we go. We're going to click on that, and we're going to drag inside. And then we can move it around a little bit if we want. Oh, I spelled Colombia wrong.
How did you move it?
Oh, big O. There we go, Cuba and Colombia. And then to move it around, you have there's a little thing in the front here that allows you to move it. The biggest problem is if you try and move it past the insert point, it'll give you a problem. So you might need to move the insert point before you move this at the same time. Okay? So, and of course you can move it around your circle. Here we go. And remember, we put a guideline on there so that it helped us line things up. And to put the guideline on there, we put in the ruler option. It's under View Rulers, Show Rulers, and we can drag that down and it'll give us a guideline. Again, to put the guideline on, you put your cursor in the ruler. To bring up rulers is under View Rulers, Show Rulers. Put your cursor in the ruler and drag down, brings you a guideline. That guideline now will help me line things up. I can move my text a little bit. Oh, not the guideline. I'm going to move my text a little bit. There it is. No, not the whole circle. Okay, I'm going to have to zoom in for this one. I'm going to have to move this a little bit. And there we go. And in fact, we'll learn that we can snap things to guidelines and stuff in the next lesson. Okay, last thing we're going to do is save this as an SVG, right? Oh, no, we're going to do lens flare, right? Oh, sorry. Forgot about the lens flare. Okay, let's go over the lens flare again. If you don't want the guideline, you can click on it and delete. To do a lens flare is located underneath the, where was it under? It was under the, this one, the objects. You got lens flare here. Now to adjust the lens flare is by double clicking on the lens flare tool in the toolbar. If I double click on it, it'll bring up the lens flare options. Basically, they are options that you can use by the number of rays that you can see, the number of rings you can have, and you just need to adjust these according to what you see. In fact, I think there's a way to adjust the color too somehow. Just go out here and see what it does first if you want before you even put it in there. Again, there's rays in there, and we can move it. If you deselect it, you can see what it looks like. To adjust it after you've made it, I think you might be able to do that in the appearance window. Let's see, content. No. I don't know how to adjust it after you've made it. Just going into editing modes. Let's do.
You color the rays because they're white right now, so you have to put them in a background.
I don't know. Let me see if I put it here. It depends on the object you have underneath it because it's actually blending it with it. As you can see, if I click on it here and I move it, it might. I think that no, it's kind of just white. You can change the size of it. I don't know. You'll have to look into it. I'm not really sure how to. I can adjust it in the video program. The video program has all kinds of different ways to color it. If you can use lens flare because it's kind of a video thing, in like After Effects or Premiere and those video programs. But here, I don't know. If we look under the help menu, maybe there's a way. What was it called? Lens flare. Lens flare. Oh, here's a whole tutorial on how to do it right there. I'm not going to watch it, but you can find it. Okay, last thing is we're going to save it as an SVG, right? So what is the most important thing? Get rid of the fonts, okay? Because fonts are inherent to the computer in SVG because it's programming. To get rid of the fonts, we select our text, select both of them, and go underneath Type, Create Outlines. Will convert your text to objects. Now, of course, you can't retype your text, though. Then be very careful. And, oh, I only had one. Let me get the other one going here. There we go. So now they're objects. Again, to shrink the artboard down to the size of my artwork, I select all the artwork. Now, of course, the problem you're going to run into is the lens flare is sticking out. See that? So that could be a problem, too. So I might need to bring this in just a little bit. There we go. There we go. Well, it could be outside a little bit there. Okay, select all your artwork. Then to shrink the artboard down to the artwork, we go underneath Object, Artboards, Fit to Selected Art. Shrink the artboard down to the size of your art. And then I would save in 3 formats. Save as Illustrator, save as PDF, and then save as SVG just to practice. Again, they're all under the save window. File, Save As, Illustrator. This is my patch. There's one. And then I can go under File, Save As, and I can change it as PDF. And then for the last one, for the internet, a good format for the internet, SVG is under File, Save As, and you can change it to SVG. Don't use the compressed one. And save that. And if you want to see the code, I think we looked at the code for SVG last time. You can click on the SVG code right here, and you can look at it all right there. And if SVG is a version of XML, as you notice, it starts with XML version 1.0. Okay. In fact, you can write your own SVG. In fact, I helped write a book back in 2002, 2003, somewhere around there. Maybe I'll go find it and bring it down to you so you can see some of the SVG that we wrote by hand. I was working with a guy who was a PhD in physics from Europe, and he loved SVG, and he would write it all by hand, and I would help him do it. So you can save that as SVG, and if you want to look at it, you can look at it in a web browser. So I want you to turn in the SVG online is what I'm expecting you to turn in, okay? So I want you to, don't turn in Illustrator, don't turn in PDF. I want you to save as SVG, and that's what you turn in for your mission patch. If you want to see it in your browser, you just drag it into the browser window. Here it is. Boom. There it is. It's in the internet. Look at that. Beautiful internet graphic right there. Look at how the lens flare turns out, though. It kind of messes it up, doesn't it? Don't use a lens flare in SVG, probably. I would avoid that. Some things just don't translate. Not everything works. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking. I saved this video for you.